What's up, you guys? What's up, you guys? So, we are here for a teaching from my book, The Code Breaker Bible. And today we're talking about awareness versus identity. So, let's talk about it because I've come to realize that, most people think that they are their thoughts, right? And I was fortunate enough, I love to tell the story clearly. A lot of people are fortunate enough I was fortunate enough, excuse me, to learn when I was involved in a non-denominational church as a child, that, you are not your thoughts, you're not your doubts, you're not your fear, and to actively deconstruct that, right? To deconstruct your thoughts. But, you know, learning it so young, I never realized that a lot of people actually deal with that. A lot of people feel the pressure of feeling like they are their thoughts, they are their fears, they are their doubts. But alignment begins when you realize you are the awareness of observing your thoughts, right? So we're gonna be having a conversation about observing your thoughts. But first, let's talk about alignment because I think that it's important in every teaching that I do to communicate that you have to learn early in the game as soon as possible about alignment. This core principle that is vital to understanding how alignment works into enlightenment, into an awakening moment, into reaching a higher point in your life, right? Jumping timelines, quantum leaping, all that. The vital thing to know is that alignment is change. Alignment is another word for change. Alignment means to shift, right? The ability to shift, the ability to understand that things are gonna change, things are gonna grow because on this earth, we all witness every day, despite the fact that, majority of people look past it, that everything is growing, everything is moving forward, everything is shifting. And that is what alignment is understanding the fact that, alignment is shifting, alignment is change, alignment is growth, right? So moving forward to the next part is that, through awareness, I like to consider it like this. This really helped me when you capture a moment in your life with a picture, right? I always say a Polaroid, but when you capture your life with a picture, you get to see that moment last a little bit longer than the moment of you being in it. That doesn't, change the experience. That doesn't change the the moment, right? But I think that when we really, really look at awareness for what it is, and we understand to look at experiences, well, it's hard to like put into words, right? Because it wouldn't necessarily be the experience. It would be something um like being present in that moment, right? That I think that when you learn to look at being present in a moment, at any moment, right, then you learn to look at it like a picture, look at the bigger picture of what's really going on, whether it be the purpose, the meaning, the reasoning, right, the metaphor, the symbolism, right? And really tap into your intuition about what it like what it means and how to decipher it. I think that is important. So in the Cold Burger Bible, I talk about intuition a lot because I was very excited. That is one of my core teachings that I would take with me until I pass, right? One of my legacy teachings will be everything that I have taught and spoken on when it comes to intuition. And I think that is because I have a lot to value when it comes to really deciphering symbolism, really deciphering um, the the metaphorical elements of life, right? Because like I said, we so easily look past growth and what is really going on with nature. I think that we have a lot of room for deciphering the truth and deciphering reasoning from our intuition, right? It's not necessarily a a black and white or right or wrong answer. It's more of a intuitive um emotion, right? Like a expression. An expression is a good word for it. And I think that we need to value that more. So in my book, I talk about intuition and how to bring your intuition to bring you to alignment. And I think that that is a valuable teaching because a lot of people are kind of navigating in like this weird blindness, right? Of just, oh, I'll do whatever until it comes to me, right? Or vice versa, on the other end of the spectrum, letting things happen to you and not letting you happen to the experience, right? Um, so I wanted to teach on that today from my book, The Code Breaker Bible. It's available on my website. If you guys feel interested and you don't have it, I highly recommend you go and check it out because I have just recently started doing my teachings from that book. I put a lot of wisdom into that book, a lot of knowledge went into that book, years and years of spiritual journey and perspective, and just really from a lens of awareness, right? Of not one perspective but many, right? Being open, right, in expression. So I really value that about the Code Breaker Bible, which is why I just started doing this teaching. The book came out on pre-order a couple of months ago, but I have been very busy, but super looking forward to just doing some teachings on it, right? As planned. So these teachings are very valuable because you can take actionable steps, and I feel like that is something a lot of teachings don't have, right? A lot of people want to speculate. A lot of people want to be neutral. No, I'm gonna tell you what it is, what it isn't, whether you take it for a grain of salt or take it wholeheartedly to what you believe in, your philosophy, right? Because at the end of the day, I won't encourage you to pedestal me and my teachings from the Code Breaker Bible, but I will encourage you to have your own philosophy, to have your own knowledge, to have your own wisdom, to also teach, to also pour into people, right? Because that's the importance. That's why I wrote the Code Breaker Bible, not because I wanted to publish my teachings. I wanted my teachings out there. I wanted to market it or sell a book, right? Or be an author, right? Not any of those reasons. I mean, those are valid reasons. Um, if you are in the community, a supporter, a viewer, someone who streams my content, and you do those things, that is valid. That's valid for me as well, not just you, right? But I think that we um as people need to start thinking a lot more about the future. On top of that, though, I think that it is important that we start planning a legacy that we can pass the torch, something worthy, something acceptable, exceptional, right? Exceptional. Sorry. And I'm not hoping that my book, The Code Breaker Bible, will be the exceptional piece of my legacy. My piece of the legacy, right? Sorry. Um, I'm hoping that the teachings of encouraging people to pour into others is my legacy. My teachings to have your own, to curate your own philosophy, right? Um, to curate your own knowledge in spirit in your spiritual journey, right? And to develop that, to evolve it. I can't talk all of a sudden. But yes. So real quick, I wanted to talk about the fact that I think it is very complicated, but it still does not affect the exceptional ability. I mean, the exceptional experience of letting you happen, right? The beauty of unfolding is and always will be that the truth will always lie in the experience, right? The truth will always come from the experience, whether it be learning a lesson, whether it be facing a challenge, facing your fears, facing your doubt, not being conquering something, a story arc, right? A main character arc in your story, right? Controlling your narrative, right? Basically, I talk about controlling your narrative in the Coldbreaker Bible. I think in like the third chapter. Very quick. I was very quick to get into that because it is so important that we understand that the experience, no matter if it's good or bad, will always be a part of life that we are not supposed to control. We are supposed to accept and learn to experience the lesson, the symbolism, the metaphor, and use our intuition, to use our perception, to use our enlightenment as awareness that there are bigger things going on, and no matter what happens, little, small, huge, gigantic, in the details, there's always a promise for us on this spiritual journey that things will happen. The Code Breaker Bible, right? So let's move into not letting the correlation of the experience happening to you, because that is so common. That is so common, and it's so sad because there are a lot of people who are just like, oh, I don't know, and it's sad because you should not want to live your life like that. You should not want to just idly be passive through your life. Take control of what you are able to take control of. That doesn't mean go and be wasteful, go and be greedy, go and be what's the word I'm looking for? Wrathful, right? It means experience it through the lens, experience life through the lens of who you are, your identity. Because only one person is ever gonna experience that, and that's you, the Codebreaker Bible. So I can't go into detail even though I really want to. We will have to make a whole, content video about it if you guys don't stream my content, which is fine because I know a lot of people are in the community only want the teachings, right? They only want the teachings, the series, the lectures, right? Which reminds me, mentorships are available again on the website. Go check it out on the website. The first thing you see when you go to the website on the homepage is the mentorship. Sign up, enroll. It is good knowledge and wisdom that I coach you through your spiritual journey at any level, at any step, for a very low price. It's affordable. I made sure it was affordable. I made sure it was effective, and I made sure it had a lot of value. So yes, if you are in the community for the lectures, or if you're in the community for the content, right, to stream Karma TV, or whatever it may be, if you want more than lectures, or if you didn't even know I did teachings, if you want more than the lectures, because more than the series are the lectures, more than the lectures are the mentorships, right? So make sure you guys sign up. It is very good information, very key, very vital. So yes, so I really gotta talk about the importance of you know the core value, the core principles of you being the experience, right? Because it gets complicated, but I'm gonna dumb it down from you from the Codeburger Bible, by the way. So if you don't have the book, make sure you go check it out. It's available on the website, on the blog. Um, you can Google it and you'll be able to find it. The Codeburger Bible by Jordan Arnett. Um, but and if you do have a book, I'm expecting you to follow along, right? Because I have been posting about that. To follow along, if you have the book, that's the reason for the book, is to follow along with the teachings. That, it gets complicated, but this principle will help you. But first, I'm going to give you three very vital, very, very vital, important um, principles about perception. I had just thought about it and I forgot exactly that word. The first one is that you don't always have to see the bigger picture to know that the bigger picture is there. The same way that people have faith in God, you can have faith in the plans that are set out for you in the universe, right? Just because you cannot see them does not mean that they are not there. That is so important. We think that because we can't see it, we think that because we can't see it, that all of a sudden it's not there. That is not how the universe works. That's not how Earth works. That's not how humankind works at all. Just because you close your eyes does not mean that the moon will not be there. It's so unfair that we get this privileged thought process of assuming that once we die, it's over and that people are not carrying on is unfair. It's not right. So stop having this mentality of, you can't see it, so it's not there, right? In all things of the universe, right? The universe is always working. The universe works in mysterious ways. The universe is always happening and expanding and teaching, right? Even when you can't see it, and you have to learn to trust that. The second principle is that, I think this when I learned this principle in my spiritual journey, I had went from growing in increments to growing a lot more at a time because of the way that it impacted the way that I look at things. And that's when you decide to be perceptive, because it's easy to say you're being perceptive. It's easy to say, you understand perception, but the truth is when you decide to actively apply it in your life, then the things don't change, right? The challenges, the hardships, the doubts, the fear, the anger, the sadness, right, don't change when you actively apply it to your life. But what is different is that you look at those things differently. You see them as doorways, right? I talk about that in the book. You see them as realigning your path. You see them as changing direction. And that is important for the core principle of, letting yourself unfold, is that, when you are the experience, it's totally different from when you are contributing to the experience, right? Because it's not always about. That's why I had to do some groundwork on alignment, meaning is another word for change. I wholeheartedly believe that. Good. I wholeheartedly believe that, because the truth is that when you accept that things change and the only thing that you can do is change, you look at things different, from a different perspective, from a different picture, from a different lens. Because the truth is that when you are letting the universe, letting the world happen to you, you're not in control. You're letting things happen to you. You're letting experience happen to you. You're letting life happen to you. You're letting the challenges happen to you. But the best part is that when you understand that those things don't have to change, you can look at them differently, because at the end of the day, it's gonna happen. The world is gonna happen. The universe is gonna continue to expand. The life happens, death happens, birth happens, right? Conception happens. But when you learn to look at it from a lens of those things will continue, and the glory of that being in that, from the Kohlberger Bible, the glory of those things being able to continue is the reason why we can't be so caught up in, even if it's, the experience happening to you, or you unfolding, you contributing to the experience. Life goes on. Life continues. The point of this teaching, life continues to grow. Life continues to grow. And knowing that you will grow after this teaching, whether you want to or not, you will continue to grow. Maybe not move forward, maybe not break the chains, maybe not continue to live in a cycle of fear or anger or jealousy. You might not want to change, but the one thing you will continue to do is grow. Thank you guys so much for staying tuned to listen to this message. I appreciate it so much. Um, Make sure you guys stay tuned. The next teaching in this series will come next week, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Thank you for your love and support. You are so appreciated at Profit Culture, at um at Karma TV. Thank you for all your love and support on the blog, on the website, because it's not content, it's more of a web-based thing, and y'all still support mad crazy, and I'm so thankful for that. I'm so grateful for y'all's love and support. So thank you. Make sure y'all stay tuned next week for the next teaching in this series. This was part 1. Make sure y'all stay tuned for part 2 and 3, and then the lectures will be out a week after the last lecture comes out. So make sure y'all stay tuned for that if y'all want the lecture where we highlight the teachings of the whole series, right? So thank you guys so much. Y'all have a blessed week. Keep the hope, keep faith, and stay strong, okay?